Hello, Mr. Ford. I'm William Cormos, and today I'll be doing my presentation on The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. I will be discussing major themes within the story, literary devices, and literary criticisms that we have gone through this semester. Let's first take a deep dive into major background information about The Most Dangerous Game. This is a short story that was written in 1924 by Richard Connell. The genre of this story is adventure fiction with suspense, and it's also considered a psychological thriller. Themes within this story include civilization versus savagery, hunter versus hunted. Now, let's do a brief plot summary on the story. To start things off, Sandra Rainsford and another passenger are on a yacht heading to Rio de Janeiro, and they discuss big game hunting. Do the prey possess the capability to be fearful? Sandra Rainsford falls overboard from the yacht after hearing a gunshot. He later ends up on a mysterious island named Ship Trap Island. He tracks animals' footprints, which leads him to General Zaroff, who is a fellow hunter. He also is the owner of the island. General Zaroff, being a hunter, has grown bored of hunting animals, and now he seeks the ultimate challenge, which is hunting humans. Rainsford is initially confused, but his confusion turns to horror when he realizes that he is killing humans. Zaroff gives Rainsford the ultimate challenge: become the hunted or die. Rainsford demands to leave the island, but the general refuses and forces Rainsford to play his new game. Rainsford, being a hunter, will provide Zaroff with the challenge he needs. Zaroff promises to set Rainsford free if he lives through the next 3 days. So Rainsford sets into the jungle after receiving food, clothes, and a knife from Zaroff's assistant named Ivan. Zaroff finds Rainsford easily, but lets him escape for the pleasure of the hunt. And Rainsford becomes very scared of how Zaroff found him so quickly, and he makes a booby trap in the jungle called a Malayan man catcher to kill Zaroff.
Let me congratulate you. I'm gonna get my wound addressed. It's a slight one, but I'll be back.
After the Malayan man catcher only wounds Zaroff, Rainsford runs into the jungle for hours. Unfortunately, he runs into a bed of quicksand. After narrowly escaping the quicksand, Rainsford grabs sharp wooden sticks and covers it in foliage to make a Burmese tiger pit.
Your tiger pit has claimed one of my dogs, but that's nothing compared to my whole pack.
The next day, Rainsford makes a knife trap called a Ugandan knife spring.
Start filming.
After the trap kills Zaroff's assistant named Ivan, Rainsford is pushed to the edge of the cliff by the dogs, and Rainsford decides to jump into the rocky sea below. Zaroff returns back to his room, only to find Rainsford in his bed. Rainsford kills Zaroff and says how he has never slept better. The title of this story is a double meaning: game as in sport, which is hunting, and also game as in the prey are being hunted. Zaroff believes humans are the most dangerous prey because they can strategize and fight back. Now we are going to discuss some literary devices within the story. The first one is irony. Irony is used to contrast expectation and reality. Examples of irony within the story include Rainsford, who is a hunter, who actually becomes the hunted. And also, Zaroff considers himself civilized, yet he hunts humans and is a savage. The irony within this story builds tension and highlights the blurred lines between civilization and barbarianism. Foreshadowing is also very present within the story. Foreshadowing are clues that hint at an event that is about to happen. Examples of foreshadowing are when Whitney talks to Rainsford about hunters getting nervous sometimes. And there's also foreshadowing with the name Ship Trap Island. This warns about the danger ahead. creating suspense for the reader. There's suspense in this story due to the 3-day hunt that Ransford has to survive, as well as the jungle setting. Symbolism is huge in this story, as it represents when an object, person, or place represents something deeper. Examples of symbolism include the island, the jungle, and the mansion. The island is symbolizing isolation, danger, and wildness. The jungle represents unpredictability and the idea of kill to be killed. And finally, the mansion can also represent false civilization and how civilization doesn't always equal morality. The effect of symbolism in this story adds to the layers of themes and the setting. Personification is also used in this story as it gives human traits to non-human things. For example, the night would be my eyelids. Imagery is also in the Most Dangerous Game, which helps the reader understand the setting of the jungle and Zaroff's chateau. The final literary device I will be discussing is the allusion. An allusion is a reference to another piece of work. Allusions are present in this story as Zaroff references historical military campaigns and cultures to show his refined background, creating irony. Now I would like to describe some literary criticisms within the Most Dangerous Game. First of all, there's new historical criticism. Historical criticism examines a text by also examining other works of text at the same period of time. The focus of the new historical criticism in this story is the context of 1920s America post-World War I, the colonialism, and the social hierarchy within. Zaroff is a displaced Russian aristocrat who is a symbol of old world descendants and colonial power. There are many references to Euro-Asia in this story, as well as Ivan and Zaroff having names of Cossacks, which is a highly militarized group of individuals fighting for the Tsar in World War. Using the psychoanalysis criticism, we can look at the human psychology and the inner conflict within the characters in the story. Psychoanalysis criticism explores the role of the subconscious in literature, including that of the author, reader, and the characters in the text from Sigmund Freud. In the Most Dangerous Game, Zaroff represents the id, as he has primitive desires, whereas Rainsford represents the ego, as he is always thinking rationally. The jungle symbolizes the unconscious mind, as it is dark, unknowable, and full of fear. Rainsford's transformation suggests a loss of primal instinct during the hunt. We have the reader's response criticism. Reader's response criticism focuses on the reader's interpretation and moral reaction of the story. The interpretation that most readers feel is justified when Rainsford ends up killing Zaroff, as most people see justice. Others see it as a moral failure, because Rainsford becomes the same kind of killer that Zaroff is. The final literary criticism is formalism. Formalism is a school of philosophy that states the good, the evil, and choosing the correct actions can be determined from a formula. The focus of formalism in this story is language, plot structure, and the symbols used. This story has a classic structure with an exposition, a rising action, a climax, and finally a resolution at the end. Using oppositions, the hunted versus hunter, civilized versus savage, and the reason versus instinct, formalism occurs in this story. A similarity between The Most Dangerous Game and The Wars by Thomas Finley is the idea of survival. In The Wars, Robert is trying to survive battle, whereas in The Most Dangerous Game, Rainsford is trying to survive Zaroff in the island. Comparing The Most Dangerous Game to A Matter of Balance by W.D. Vaughan, The Most Dangerous Game shows the hunted versus hunter dynamics, whereas A Matter of Balance shows how trauma turns ordinary situations into psychological shutdowns, where the terrain is the mind, not the jungle, like in The Dangerous Game. Thank you, Mr. Ford, for such an amazing semester, and I will continue to grow my English knowledge throughout the course of my lifetime.